So I seen that Be Better video, and I want Canadians to be quiet for the rest of the year.
If you want to get the full context of this video, I will advise you go watch the video before this one, because this video is going to be stitches to the last video that I posted. The last one was like 9 minutes long. I don't want to make it too long, and that's the reason why I kind of divided it into two parts. So the last video was a Canadian white guy who spoke about the downfall of Kamala Harris. Type of content is centered around something like that. It makes so much video about the downfall of brands, people, celebrity, and all of that. So you guys have an idea of the type of video that he always posts. And whenever he posts videos like this, at the beginning, it's going to show his certificates that he studied marketing, so he has a degree in marketing, and that's every right, and he knows what he's saying basically, because that's the point of you showing your certificates before talking. So he made that video on the downfall of Kamala Harris and said a lot of things, and it is getting him dragged, and he has since taken down that video. But before he took down the video, he already went viral on the media, and here is what Black Americans are saying about his video on the downfall of Kamala Harris.
So I seen that Be Better video, and I want Canadians to be quiet for the rest of the year. To say this about the vice president,
forced to take firm stances on topics, and because she hasn't done that intellectual work to decide where she really lands on these important issues, she may end up looking unqualified for the job.
to say the sitting vice president of the United States hasn't done the intellectual work to see where she stands on policy is crazy. You got one more take before I think you racist.
The next issue with the blank slate strategy is the only reason it's even remotely effective is specifically because she is solely relying on identity politics. People will be so excited to vote for the first Black woman that they will be willing to overlook the fact that she doesn't have a true vision for the country.
That'll do it.
So based on my objective analysis, I believe that Kamala Harris's campaign is built up.
Part of why I was so annoyed by this video yesterday is because he uses the phrase objective analysis when he talks about his terrible opinionated video. Because objectivity implies no implicit racial, emotional biases present in the analysis. Analysis implying that he's taking data and he's analyzing it, but he doesn't do either of those things. The evidence he uses is just anecdotal, personal information that he's interpreting using his emotional, implicit, racial, white man, Canadian bias. And he did the one example I hate the most, which is the idea that Black people only care about Kamala because she's going to be the first Black female president. And he also starts the video off by talking about how, even though he's Canadian, he wants to make this video because he knows how important American politics are and how it affects the rest of the world. If it's so important, why didn't you bother learning about American politics before making the video? Why didn't you do a lick of basic research? And it bothers me to my core when I hear a white man say objectivity when they're talking about their stupid opinion. Because white men are some of the most hardest to understand other people's emotions, hardest to empathy, hardest to understand their own implicit biases, racial biases, emotional biases. So of course, when this white man decides to go ahead and talk about it, it's something that it doesn't explain anything about Kamala. It just shows how he interprets Kamala and Black people as a whole. And it's not good looking. It actually looks really bad. It looks like you have some huge anti-Blackness to unpack. This type of arrogance is so typical in white men, and that's why it's dangerous to have white men ever at the forefront of any discussion and when it involves people of color, Black people, marginalized groups in general, because white people, especially white men, have the hardest time building empathy, emotional bias deconstruction, implicit bias deconstruction, racial bias deconstruction. White men are the ones that have the most work to do, and they're always the ones that do the least while claiming the most. And I wouldn't even trust this guy's opinion even if he had a master's degree in American politics, because again, white men have the hardest time deconstructing, and they have the hardest time understanding that they have a lot of biases. And this video is a prime example of that.
Hi, so I have a bachelor's degree in political science with a minor in African American studies. I also have a master's degree in journalism. I've covered politics for the #1 morning show in America, and I'm going to tell you why Be Better's take on the downfall of Kamala Harris is absolute trash. Let's start with his take that Kamala's campaign is running solely on identity politics. Because for the love of God, A woman of color simply living, breathing, and doing her job does not equate to identity politics. I would truly love for you to show us where her campaign said to vote for her because she is a woman of color. And if we're going to touch on identity politics at all, the identity that she is more so marketing would actually more align with age, simply because she does not identify as an 80-year-old man, thus identifying more with a younger crowd and future generations. Now let's move on to where you said Kamala hasn't done the intellectual work. The Vice President of America, a former top prosecutor, she hasn't done the intellectual work. An absolute joke analysis. Now, I would have stitched this video, but it's already been deleted, and so you may want to replace the downfall of Kamala Harris with the downfall of Be Better, unless you, Be Better, decides to do better.
Be better. Now, I'm not going to jump on the hate train. I'm not going to come out here and just attack him personally. Everyone knows that we had somewhat of an issue in the past before. But his take earlier today, I'm going to dissect it. I'm going to divulge. I have the entire video. I'm going to dissect every second of it. But like the swift downfall and the people going after him is insane. It's crazy. And two reasons why I've never personally liked him. I hate that he shows off his little degree when he starts and says, I'm smarter than you, which is why I'm better than you and I should be talking about this. Theoretical knowledge doesn't apply to actual real life. You can be as smart on books as you want, but until you actually have to do the work, then it's useless. You know, you see jokes of like new med students going into like hospitals and they're telling the 3-decade veteran nurses what to do. And it's like, no. Walk the walk, then you can talk the talk. And like he always just presents it that he's right about everything and like there's no room for conversation, there's no room for nuance. He presented the information as fact, which was crazy, and I'm like, it's your opinion, sweetheart. I worked in government for a year, state and local. I worked with many politicians. I've worked on a political campaign, so I actually have some knowledge of how this all works. I've been filming on what's working for Kamala, what's not for Trump, all that. I'm gonna be posting videos about it. Before I get to that, before I dissect Be Better and all of that and how bad his take was, I'll expose myself. I don't care. I'm a registered Republican. I voted down the line Republican in every election and primary, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, even the primary this year. And I am voting for Kamala Harris. Okay, there's a lot to this conversation that needs to be said. But what Be Better is doing, he just deleted everything and he's acting like it never happened. Like, do a Nikita Dragon. She was never held accountable. You just act like it never happened. You'll be fine.
Because she hasn't done that intellectual work to decide where she really lands on these important issues, she may end.
Be Better has since taken down that video, which is what I thought he might do in light of the backlash he has received. However, someone with a marketing degree who has built his platform off of critiquing what people do wrong in the public eye and with marketing and strategy, he himself knows that it is not enough to simply take down something like that after you receive backlash, especially something that is that ignorant at best and racist and sexist at worst. To claim that a woman, a Black woman who holds the second highest office in this land, is unfamiliar and unclear about her own policies that will make it so when she has to debate Donald, it will make her look uninformed. You really tried it, and you need to come out and say something immediately. I am genuinely confused as to why people struggle so much to critique Kamala Harris without being sexist, without being racist. However, to with your entire chest sit here and record a video stating that she hasn't done the intellectual work to be aware of her own policies, that when she does have to speak about said policies and her stance, that she may come across as looking unqualified. You can't just delete that video and plan on keep it moving. You need to say something. You need to be better. And yeah.
I think there's a lot of parallels to be drawn between the marketing of a product and the marketing of a political candidate. Oh, I'm not American, I'm Canadian.
Then mind your business. Mind your maple syrup slurping business. You guys have literally free healthcare. Why are you worrying about what we doing? The best artist to ever come out of your country is Drake. I think you guys have a lot more pressing matters in your hands right now.
No one is exempt from criticism. Be Better who is an account that I follow. I enjoy his content, and it's always talking about the downfall of this person, downfall of that person, or whatever. And for the most part, I think he gets it right for the majority of the time. But this last video of Kamâla Hârris that he did was just so very wrong, and he since has taken it down, and a lot of people have made their think pieces. So I'm not going to sit here and do another think piece about the video. It's just more to let you know that whenever you make videos and put it into the abyss that is the internet, one, it's there forever because people will screen record, download your videos, all of that. But two, sometimes what comes to light is that your opinion is wrong. And even though opinions are just opinions, some things could be very, very hurtful to the people that you're making the video about, especially if like your opinion just happened to be wrong. And in the state of this country right now, and like where we're headed towards this election time period that we're in right now, it's such a pivotal time, and stuff like this is not needed. We know who the opposing side is. We know what's going on in politics for the most part. At the end of the day, educate yourself about who to vote for and stuff like that. But this is just goes to show that even the accounts that focus on pointing out the negative things that other people come online to do, that same account can also get the same criticism if they get it wrong. So be so fucking careful. Okay, none of us are exempt. I'm getting canceled next, probably not really, because I don't really be saying shit, but I'm just saying, go listen to my music though. Love you.
What do you guys think about what this guy said? Like, she's playing into identity politics. This is not even new. If you have been following the conversation and what people have been having to say since this lady was endorsed as the new running candidate, this identity politics, playing identity politics, is not going to be new to you, and I'm very sure of that. And she said she hasn't done the intellectual work to know, you know, the position that she will be in. She's not capable of being in that position. That's almost exactly what he's implying. This person said, I have not liked that kid since day one. I mean, he's like 22. A Nepo baby who works for his family with no real work experience, much less any grasp on the American political system. He's using those doing better than him and his family for attention, view, and money in the name of bringing them down. This one said exactly the audacity of this child. Also, I dare him to put his degree next to all of hers and say with his full chest she's not done the intellectual work or is qualified. Boy, bye. This person said literally the dumbest take ever laced in misogyny and racism. This woman has held every public office on the ladder to the presidency. Another one said, solely relying on identity politics equals all I can say is that she's brown and a woman, and I don't like that because she does not deserve it, because I can't have a black and Asian woman be smarter than me, because that is the reason why he is saying she hasn't done the intellectual work, because he felt like she doesn't deserve that position, she doesn't deserve that seat as a vice president already. She still hasn't done the intellectual work, but you who has a degree in marketing has done the intellectual work enough to come online and, you know, put down a chart and start talking about the downfall. Another person said, his whole preface is that she's playing an identity campaign, only which is far from the truth. She's talked about policy in her ads and rally, and now the DNC. She's plastered her vision. She has plastered her vision everywhere. The last one I have here said, does he think all black people see is another black person and we automatically agree with everything they say or do? Did he not see the way Ben Carson was roasted within the community? I feel like this conversation or this last comment is actually very true. I have seen a lot of creators as well talk about how people want to vote for Kamâla Hârris because she's going to be the very first black woman in history to be the president of the United States. Some are even saying because they know people want to vote for her because they think she's black, they are coming up to say that she's not black. She's as much Asian as she is black. Let me hear what you guys think about this guy's video. There are so many videos now. He's been dragged. I hope they are not going to report his account to a point where he's taken down. I know a lot of people are dragging and they are still going to drag him for the next few days because this is actually still very hot. Let me hear what you guys think about this video. If you have not watched the first part, please go and watch it, and then you can come back to this to get exactly why people are saying all of the things they're saying in the stitches if you need the full context. So if you don't and you are able to understand all of what is said in this video, then fine, let me hear what you think in the comment section, and please make sure to subscribe and turn your bell notification on, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.